Good morning. Very, very warm welcome back on behalf of the team, and great to be again once connected after these few days in between the 7-day retreat and this follow-up. So I hope that all is well and you are really being able to reflect and put into place some of these ideas, and maybe you have some insights. So it would be really, really nice to hear. Feel free to share in the chat anything that has come up. And this learning over a few days really creates opportunity to consolidate, all based around very simple ideas of first being guest and the bigger journey and the spiritual sight, to hold that. And in contrast, this false understanding of self is the ego perspective, the inner game, how science helps when we have this understanding of the ongoing journey and also of the friend. I'd like to share a quote about success, how the recipe for success, according to Swami Vivekananda. He said to take up one idea, but make that one idea your life. Think of it, dream of it, live on that idea, and let the brain, the muscles, the nerves, every part of your body be full of that idea, and just leave every other idea alone. This is the way to success. And I'm sure you have had this experience when you've created concentration, and over some time you just get such an insight into this potential of the mind. And maybe that one idea is guessed. It'll be nice to hear from you what you feel that one idea is. And secondly, T.S. Eliot, we shall not cease from exploration, and at the end of all our exploring will be to arrive where we started and know the place for the first time. So I'll leave that with you to reflect on. And meanwhile, I'm going to, on behalf of all of you, welcome in Prashant and good morning. Thank you.
Hello and good morning. In encouragement for as many of us to come in the light and be in the gathering, but we're very, very optional, when you are comfortable. And that it was such a great opportunity for us to get this overview of our journey. And also we understand the absurdity of human race, where the main things in our life is blocked by Maya. Maya has created this blackout. We can't see our home. We can't see our true family. We can't see our true friend. We can't see even ourselves. So it can't be any more absurd than this. And day in and day out, we are completely immersed in the story, and then fighting and greed and with all the vices, and also suffering. One of these big definition of ego and ego's life, he suffers for nothing, and that is the verdict on the entire suffering that exists in the world. We suffer for nothing. whole thing is artificially cooked up, and such is the life. But we now understand that truth is immensely beautiful. And truth is positive. Universe is positive. All that we are doing is just seeing the truth. That is all. Our effort is just this. Remove the blocks. Stone intellect, that Patthar intellect is like a block for this. We are removing the blocks, able to see the bigger map. I will sometimes these questions come in, and I will just touch one area of these questions. I will be using the board. Normally I come with the board in the first second. Today it is a little later. I come with wherever I go, I used to carry the board with me. So in this one question about how we create bondages, and let us say here is a person, and if he's tied to another person, then we can create a bondage. Prisoners are tied with a chain, so they can't. More the bondages versus the prisoner. The animal can be enslaved by putting a rope around the neck. Then, so it is a bit like a slave. And then what happens in that slave mind? He can still be happy, but it depends on the master. Master decides whether he should be happy or not. That is what the whole notion of slave and the master is. Master decides, master has the rope in his hand, and he can make him happy, he can make him unhappy. That is the model of the prison. That is the model of the master and a slave. So an example here is rope. If there is a rope tying there, then there is a bondage. And one creates a slave relationship. And we give the example, okay, there is no rope. The person is far away, another country maybe. Can you create a bondage? Can someone become the slave to another person? He's in another country completely. Can he create a slave relationship?
Yes, of course, is one answer.
How?
Some thoughts here, not sure. If he gets upset by the other, it's an indication of being slave. It's not conditional upon the place or a distance. That doesn't matter. Mind can stay connected, or you get connected through your thoughts.
The most important word here is expectation. The person creates an expectation from the other person. And the moment he has created expectation, the other person is in charge to fulfill that expectation. He was just an ordinary person. He did not put a label, he's a master. But the moment I create an expectation from him, he becomes the master now. Because now he's in charge to fulfill my expectation. He can make me unhappy, and he can make me happy. And even in the best relationships, I can create masters. just by creating expectations. Like, you can create expectation from your mother, from your friends. We can create expectations here. And more expectations you create more masters around you. And this is totally in my hand. How many masters I create, it is up to me, because I create expectations. And that is not a good quality of life, because you create a slave relationship. Creating masters means becoming slave, dependent on the other. We can create expectations from the systems, governments, from your car, that it will start, from the electricity will work. You can go on creating expectations around. And more expectations you create, we lower the quality of our lives. So when the word bondage, this word is used, bondage starts in a very simple way. We find ourselves in this blue box and we start creating expectations, because something was there yesterday, I think it should be there today. Yesterday someone was nice, today he should behave the same. Yesterday governments were very efficient, they should be there today. Create expectations, and expectations from matter, expectations from body. We may not even know how we get caught into these bondages. And this world outside is not in our control to start with. We are creating expectations from the foreign world. He is not your friend. This world is not like God. This world is going to be separated from us. You have an exit. But from anywhere, there is no need to create a slave relationship with anywhere. And then we said, we create further in this confusion. Who will create bondage? Who gets deceived? Only those who are not thinking clearly, they get deceived. Animals, birds that are clever, they don't get deceived. They can't be trapped. So here we have to be clever here, not to get deceived in this. Then you are useful to yourself. But once this bondage starts, our discrimination then continues to become dull. We can't see clearly, can't think clearly. And then we create bigger bondages. We start using the word my to things. Don't even realize how absurd it is. We start using the letter I in a foreign world. It's so casual, you deeply believe that is you. And no surprise, Maya is so successful in blocking not just your world, but even you. You can't even see yourselves, because we are now buried in this world of bondages. This is the state of affairs. That's why we need to take steps, simple steps towards freedom, steps towards awakening. Every second, every minute we are taking these steps, it is rewarded. Instant. Accurately you take the step, it is instantly rewarded. Because all these bondages only add to our subconscious and conscious burdens and unhappiness. You continue to become free from all this. That world is still there, and nothing wrong with that world, but just Ravan is not there, demon is not there, slave is not there, and masters are not there. You remain free. And free soul who is free is angelic. We use the word invisible prince. You discover. It is not just a superficial title, you discover your own greatness. We'll come to the subject of today, but just maybe a few minutes if you want to add anything, if you want to say anything.
Subjective expectations is so practical.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's no comments in the chat just yet. Please continue.
Okay, so we were speaking so far our journey, and in a simple model, we said we are guests here. One who is a guest is the invisible traveler, is passing through this. It appears in the simple model, it was that as if we come here for one life and we have an exit. It may appear like that. And basic principle is that we are travelers, we are guests. But this journey of ours from here to the end, it has got different phases. So when you go into the closer, then you did realize that it is much more than just passing through this. And during these phases, we have birth and death and reincarnation. We saw in some details that there is a phenomena of reincarnation. The invisible traveler takes birth, he goes through it, he dies, and takes a birth again. That happens also. We may need to know more about, how long that process continues, and when do we come out. But we at least understand the principle. Like this example, if you are in school, 10-year-old person, in school, I don't know how it is taught now, but in the school you will be told heart has got 4 chambers, and one is called, right atrium and right ventricle, and other side is left atrium, left ventricle. Left ventricle is on the left and right atrium is on the right. Very simple model of the heart. But if you are to become cardiac surgeon, then you realize that left ventricle is not on the left, it is in the front. And right atrium is not on the right, it is at the bottom. It is called right atrium, but it is as if rotated heart, within our body. But for the school, right atrium is on the right and the left on the left. This is good enough. It appears as if everything is, made so as if in the book. Same way here, to begin with, this is a good model that we come here, we pass through this journey, and we have an exit. That's great. And we go back home. Okay. But now let us see the details. Today we are going to see the details. What happens during our journey from the beginning to the end. We just need to see the journey in one lifetime. See photographs of someone from his age, born, when he was born, and present age. Sometimes you might see photographs of the Queen or Prince Charles, different times. Sometimes, some television people show, and you realize, goodness, same person. Is it the same person? Who looked so differently, and it was as if different behavior also, different appearance. But good, for us to get a feel that how people change over time. And this is in one lifetime. This is the journey of the soul over many births. So we do go through many phases, and there is a pattern. And these phases, we will use some Sanskrit words, but that explains, what is happening, how the society is made. We will be using the word clan. It is like a different clans we are going to speak about. And different clans have got their own speciality, own energy. We'll see that also. So one clan is called a Brahmin clan. Brahmin is a student. When the soul is in this phase, he has love for knowledge. So most dominant energy for him is interest in knowledge. And we'll look into it in more detail. No one stays as a student forever. Being a student, the next phase is a deity. Deity is the result of being a student, spiritual student. So deity is the phase when the dominant energy is of happiness. Deity is a perfect man. So this Brahmin phase leads to the deity result. Deity doesn't stay as a deity forever. The next phase is called a warrior. What is the energy of the warrior? Do you want to tell?
One has written courage.
Yes, very good. Energy of the warrior is courage, and it will have its own expressions in different ways. And this is over many births, and the journey continues. Some births is a deity, some births as a warrior, birth, death, but he's then reborn into the same clan. But it doesn't stay in one clan forever. So the next phase is called a merchant. And what is the energy of the merchant?
Think about money. Permission.
Energy of the merchant is losing for easy life, comfort.
Greed, profit, gain, comfort. Interesting.
Next phase is called a Shudra. And what's the energy of the Shudra? Shudra energy is laziness. And the final result is the demon. And at this phase, the energy is of sorrow. Take sorrow, give sorrow. It is like a virtually opposite of the deity. When we are in the deity phase, the energy is of happiness. When we are in demon phase, it is just opposite. It is virtually opposite. In the Brahmin phase, it is the energy, love of knowledge, but full enthusiasm. Shudra is the opposite of the Brahmin, laziness and dullness. That is opposite of the Brahmin. So the same soul goes through these phases, as if going through the cycle. But they are eternal souls. It is not that it goes on down. But then after the demon, what is the next phase after the demon?
There's no more room on the page, so angel. Someone's written death. Someone else. Brahmin.
Yes, after the demon is the Brahmin phase. So we come back to the Brahmin. So that's why it is a eternal soul as the eternal journey. Demon in a sorrow means we were saying earlier, ego takes sorrow from nothing. He is sensitive. He doesn't need reasons. He can sort of create a comparison. He can get into competition. He can get into attachments, and then he's losing it. He takes offense. Doesn't need any reason. They can take offense from nothing. So, whole department of sorrow is for nothing. When seen from truth, you realize that all of them are lucky. They are eternally, souls. But they are into some kind of a major upheaval of some kind. Such is the life of the ego. And when we are going in this direction of the demon, ego and all are so big and so much in charge. So can take sorrow, give sorrow. But deity phase, same life situation may be coming to them, but they take no sorrow. Their life is take happiness, give happiness. They have no concept of sorrow. It is literally, virtually opposite to the demon phase. Brahmin is the student phase. Shudra is dullness, distortion. Even the knowledge you give to him, it gets distorted. That is Shudra phase. So let us start with the first phase, that is the Brahmin. We said the main quality of the Brahmin is love for knowledge. They will be in the bookshops and they will be there in libraries. Any program arranged, some talk arranged, they are not going to miss. You will see it in any town, any place. They will be there to see what they can learn there. So those who are in the Brahmin phase, that energy of learning, but larger life of the Brahmin, there will be cleanliness. There will be simplicity. There will be love for service, community benefit. They will be thinking of that. Their personal life is less complicated. They need something simple. As a result, they end up saving resources, saving their time, saving their maybe funds, but they have time to think of the others and of the community. So those who are in the Brahmin phase, they naturally gravitate towards that. Those who are in the Brahmin phase, they see God as a symbol of wisdom. We saw, all these people, different people, they will have different ideas of God in this world. So Brahmin also, but they want to know God. By that they mean they want to know the truth and they want to know wisdom. You go to the household of a Brahmin, you will see the cleanliness and simplicity. It will reflect. There may be photographs, but they are inspiring photographs. There may be some slogans written, but they are meant to educate and create progress. So this is the Brahmin life. And you will find all these clans in every city on the planet, every town, any religion. The words are, we are using the words, but words are not important. But you will see in every community, there will be some in the deity community there. There are some in the merchants, some are Shudra, some are demon. They are inbuilt. Their tendencies are of a certain kind. So Brahmins, they want to know, they want to learn. They never get tired of learning. In one place, there was some gatherings and we were, there were questions. It was 10 o'clock at night. So I was telling them, I know you all wake up in the early morning, so we should be going to bed. They say, no, we are not tired. If you are tired, we can finish. But we want to continue. I said, what kind of Brahmins? This gathering is something different. And it is like hungry for, thirsty for knowledge. But next phase, we said, is the deity phase. And as was said, those who are in the deity phase, they have, their energy is happiness. Take happiness, give happiness. It also means they do not take sorrow. You can't provoke them. You can break things, you can criticize their head and criticize their nose, and they may have death also, but they won't let go of happiness. There is no Ravan inside. Then the word deity, if there is no Ravan, no demon, then it is deity. But if they are dealing with happiness, they end up giving happiness. So the others will also feel there's some perfection in them. They are perfect human beings. They love others. Happiness comes with friends. So they naturally end up uplifting others. Their attitude, vision, they bring benefit without the meaning. Just their life is like that. They're not planning service program, something charity program, but their presence, people like to have a friend like one who is a deity. If you look into their lives, you will find they are lucky also, because their inner life is clean. That's why there are no Vinash forces. The reason they are all happy, naturally loving, because they are internally soul conscious. There is no false identities. So no Vinash forces. You will find they are lucky. Even with the health, you will find they have, if you go into their history, medical history, They've been 80 years. Oh, no, some mild things, COVID, no, it was mild. They didn't have to take this and no medications. And so they change the diet and all, it fixes their problems. So there is usually less complications in their life. So easy life, those who are in the deity phase. They do everything with happiness. If you ask them to clean these pots, they will say, oh, yes, and they love to clean the pots. And you said, shall we turn left? Yes, we'll turn left. Shall we do this? Yes. They are naturally in this phase. They remain happy. They give happiness. No stiff. No, there is nothing stubborn in them. Lighter. So if you ask them middle of the night, they want to, shall we go for a walk? They say yes, and then it is nice to go for a walk. But they do that with happiness. Whatever they are doing, they will do it in happiness. Warrior, next phase is the warrior phase. Warrior, they don't have the energy of happiness. Same light may be offered to them, but they are not naturally, internally, bubbling with happiness. That is not happening. So they go to the next best, and that is courage. They do everything with this different energy. And this may take the form of adventure, risk-taking, that kind of life. Sports people may be in the warrior phase. They tend to gravitate towards competition. And the impure version is they like to dominate. They like to be in charge. They like to rule. And if need be, they are ready to fight also. That's why warrior. But to fight and battle is not the primary factor to define this phase. They are more likely to be in the war front line. But those who are in this phase, lots of them may be in the sports field somewhere, or some adventure trying to go to the North Pole, or rock climbing. Those are in the warrior phase. They tend to have all these things. More likely, in this direction. So if you ask them, go to the middle of the night, you tell them, shall we go for a walk? They might say yes, but they are using different energy. Brahmin will go with happiness, whilst warrior will go with little bit of courage, little reluctance, but they use this different energy to do things. Wash the pots. They will do it, but they feel they have done something. Whereas deity is so happy, there's gratitude for giving the chance to wash the pots. That is the deity. I enjoyed it very much. Thank you for asking me to do it. Whereas warriors will do it and they will say, they worked so hard. They feel that way. They still are happy to do it, but it is a different. They have done an adventure. Deities may climb onto the Mount Everest. They do it with happiness. They enjoy climbing. They enjoy walking. They may go alone, Sometimes and they encourage some others to come. Yeah, fun. But they enjoy their own company. They enjoy walking. They go to Mount Everest every day after breakfast. They don't talk about it. Warrior will go to Mount Everest, but will put the flag there. He wants to be on Mount Everest before you. He's in competition.
We'll send some tweets.
Yeah.
Send some tweets from there.
Yes, that's right. He will tell everyone because he feels it is an amazing adventure. He's doing it. So wonderful, amazing. Whereas one who is Brahmin, he is, he's for him it was just fun. What is the big deal? Do you want to add anything? Say anything? Sarah, want to add anything?
Enjoying the newness of the warrior life. It's not bubbling with happiness. It helps to see the difference and the feeling of working hard, but then you can see how expectations can creep in. Question here: can we relate all these phases to this one life, to this life in this birth? Because we might see we have all of these traits we might recognize.
Yeah. But at this stage, let us see these as very distinct phases. We go through from one phase to the other phase. We may have some tendency, but these are like very clear, like say bubbling with happiness. All the time. It is not just bubblings in the morning and not in the evening. Not that. Those who are in the deity phase, they are happy full time. There is no ego, no identification, false identities inside. So they are perfect inside, outside. They are perfect. They are clean inside, outside. Sometimes you see some children, it was amazing. You look at their face, they are sort of bubbling with happiness. Just the impressions of the life. And that the very fact that this body is there, this moment is there, they feel it is like amazing gift for them. And that is what continues in the deities. And what has happened? What has changed? Why someone becomes a warrior? He was a deity at one time. Why has he become a warrior and behaving, carrying his flag everywhere? And using tweet, telling everyone what he is doing.
What happened?
Yeah, what happened?
Okay. Some ideas would be nice.
All that has happened is a creation of a little bondage. Just you need to create one bondage here. And what happens? The moment you create a bondage, you start using the word my to something here. What happens? The Brahman deity phase means zero bondage, let us say. And then you create one bondage, start claiming something is mine. What is the emotion that comes to you?
Fear.
Yeah, the emotion of fear. You feel that now you can lose it. That is why courage, very fact that you need to use courage means there is fear underneath. If there was no fear, there's no courage. So deities don't have to use courage because there is no fear inside. Whereas warriors have got there's something to lose. So, but they can still use courage and overcome that situation. But that super sensuous, the experiences, they are blocked. One drop of poison in the system, then it changes things. Deity phase is like a clean slate, whereas in the warrior phase, one drop of poison has started to come. Demonic poison, little fear, attachments that have started. Now let us come to the merchant phase. Merchant, he is not having energy even of the warrior. He hasn't got courage to deal with life. All that has happened, there are more attachments. From the merchant, from the warrior to the merchant, now he has got so many more attachments. He has got this, children and grandchildren and this cat and dog and he has collected pots and iPads. So now he got so much to lose, and mortgages, banks, televisions. So he adventure is not his priority. Risk taking is not his priority. His priority is to play safe, build a big fence and stay behind that fence. That is his priority. Comfort is a priority. Comfort it is in this context to deal with as opposed to the warrior. Warrior is courage and adventure, and he's not looking for comfort. But merchant is looking for comfort, safe. But in the life of the merchant, you will see his all the time obsession, tendency towards greed, because he thinks that will make him safe, collect more, whatever it is. So he gravitates in that direction. Money is a very important factor for him. Language and all, merchant, you associate with it. He may be in any job, he may be working in any field, but the mindset is of the merchant. He is in the merchant clan. Doesn't mean the merchant job. This is another area. I'm not saying all the merchants are like this. Just as we use the word warrior, but they could be the sports people, but they are their instinct is more warrior instinct. So also here, the merchant instinct is there. One tendency in the merchant is opulence. Means they need to show off their wealth. That is their whole trophy. What have you? How many coins have you collected? That is the measure of success. For the warrior, maybe how many prizes you win, how many rocks you have climbed, how many games you played. That is the trophy for him. For the merchant, how much gold you have collected. So he wants to show off. So this presents with the less taste, because intellect is not so sharp like the Brahmin or a deity. So there's less taste and more expense. There is expense, that is more, but less taste. In the deity, you see less expense, more taste. You go to the house of a deity, You will see tasteful, but there is hardly any expense. Go to the house of the merchant, there is a glitter everywhere, shiny things, expensive things, but in a tasteless style. One thing they like this wealth, that greed present expresses that way. In another way it presents is food. They like to eat more food. All of that, they feel that will make them safer. This is a chance. How will the merchant climb Mount Everest? We said deity will go with happiness. Warrior will go with his flag. How will the merchant go to Mount Everest?
Private jet. Sounds very fitting. He'll make a deal. You find a, or maybe on TV, he'll watch it. With lots of baggage.
Okay. They are very, very creative. We say that merchant will not go to Mount Everest, but he will sell the tickets. He will organize tours to go. And he will just want to make a little commission there. That is his success. That is his Everest. He is very happy people are going to Mount Everest. Do you know anyone who is in the merchant phase?
Yes, lots. Yeah.
Okay. The next phase is called the Shudra phase. What is happening at the Shudra level? As we are seeing all along, the person is going further and further down the spiral. The journey of the soul getting drawn more and more into this. So at one time he was the deity, then he becomes the warrior, his whole personality. Then it comes to the level of the merchant, and now he finds himself in the Shudra phase. Shudra means he's running out of all energies, becoming empty, and that's why laziness. But laziness of the head, laziness of the intellect, presents as dullness, not quick, not quick to get, not quick to grasp, not quick to understand. So it gets distorted. Ideas, half he has understood, half he has not understood. So it becomes a distorted judgment. One who is in the Shudra phase, what has happened? Ravan has become bigger. So there are more desperations. All the 10 heads, all the time they have been getting bigger, Ravan. And so indulgences are more. So he wants his coffee, followed by chocolate, followed by something else. He thinks about what is the next hit. He uses the word hit. Means what is the next pleasure? Moves from one to the other. So laziness and indulgence, that defines the Shudra life. But because of all this, the lifestyle becomes unclean. We said this is like opposite of the Brahmin. Brahmin, there will be cleanliness. In Shudra, there is uncleanliness. In Brahmin, there is simplicity. In Shudra, things are too complicated because he's collecting things, collecting the junk, uh, useless things, but he cannot let go of these things. That is the Shudra. Lots of waste. When there is lots of waste, then you know there is a Shudra. Waste of time, waste of his life. Ravan is complete like a parasite, ruling his life. No value to his own resources. All of this brings him to the next big phase, and that is demon. And demon, we saw, take sorrow, give sorrow. But it means even in the best situation, he will find reason to be taking sorrow. Ravan means that he will take sorrow from nothing. He will have, you give him something. He said, why you didn't give it yesterday? Something like this. Why you give something bigger to someone else and smaller to me? So everything, gets distorted, demon. So he ends up taking sorrow, and if you are dealing with sorrow, what happens? You end up giving sorrow. So the bigger version may be giving sorrow. You hear in the news some real cruelty that you see. That is one phase. But lots of time, person may not go to that level. But just taking sorrow, that is also demonic trait. You're dealing with sorrow. Like someone like Gandhi, he took a absolute determination not to give sorrow. So that is called non-violence. But here the life of the deity is supremely non-violent. And that is our destination, supreme non-violence. And do you want to tell me what is supreme non-violence? Life of the people like Gandhi, great Mahatmas, many, there may be many on this planet who don't criticize anyone, who will not hurt an animal, who don't want to give sorrow to anyone. They absolutely stop that in themselves. No thoughts of sorrow for anyone. No dislike, no hate for anyone. So that is non-violence. What is supreme non-violence?
They may be given sorrow, but they don't take it.
Yeah, very good. So if you are not taking sorrow either, under all provocations, if you are not taking sorrow, then it is supreme non-violence. No concept of sorrow in your life, in any form. So deities, they are in that state, supreme non-violence. As was said, it is possible because ego is the only one that takes sorrow. We said universe is positive and the universe is good. So there is no real reason. Reason is just artificial. We can solve everything, whatever needs to be done, we can deal with it. But without going in this department of sorrow. What we have done, we have seen this whole map, journey of the soul. And we saw that Brahmin phase is the phase of going up. You are moving right up to the top. Brahmin is the student life. Someone who is at a Shudra level, demon level, Brahmin phase brings him to the highest knowledge and yoga, power of knowledge and power of yoga, cleanse the soul. It becomes deity. And then there is a gradual movement down that happens in the soul. Just like, if you remember the early clocks, we used to wind it up. It used to take sometimes a minute or a couple of minutes to wind a clock. And then it would continue for 24 hours. And next day you have to wind it up again. So also here, this is like the Brahmin phase is like you top it up. It needs power of knowledge and power of yoga. And then the deity journey continues. You are gradually losing that power within the soul. And you are gradually getting drawn into this world, internally becoming empty. And now is the phase where you are coming to the top again. You want to say anything?
Yeah, a few queries. Are these tendencies, for example, with the warrior, are they of are they of body consciousness? The warrior phase, for example, would you say that's body consciousness?
From warrior, body consciousness starts. Yeah.
And can we say the energy that drives Brahmin phase is God's love?
The whole thing, here we said Brahmin is just love for knowledge. This is all we said here. But if they come across knowledge, then they are very lucky. And then their journey takes another level. But ordinary world, there are many who are in the Brahmin phase. They may not come across spiritual knowledge. So they are not the ones who can become deities. They have love for knowledge, but they end up in libraries studying computers, studying history, studying new languages. They want to learn. But if you come across spiritual knowledge, then that Brahmin life whole thing is divinized. Spiritual knowledge is the highest of all knowledge. So you now understand, you can go right to the top. To the extent you understand, you put into practice and give a priority, these factors apply.
How do the Shudras and the demons, do they go to Everest?
How Shudras go to Everest? I think Shudras are those who will watch on television whilst drinking their coffee. So they will make the plan, they invite friends and all party and watch others climbing or watch others playing a game. That is Shudra. Demon, I have not thought of how demon are going to deal with the.
Maybe they sort of have a trip, like a drug trip or something.
Yeah, it is possible.
Hallucinate. So in this one life,
Maybe
we might.
one question I can ask.
Yeah.
How will Brahmins go to Mount Everest? A question to you. We saw how Shudras, I have not thought how the demon says it. But how will Brahmins go to Mount Everest?
We're just getting answers. What would happen with the demon at the moment? Like they'd spoil the party or make others fall while they're climbing or create obstacles. sounds quite accurate. Not sure about Brahmins. They would do it with detachment. They would go with zeal and enthusiasm, or maybe fly with wisdom. Others would take, I'm not sure if that's Brahmin, maybe they'd go for service.
Yeah, and the way I see, Brahmins will not go to Mount Everest. You know, there is so much need to be done over here. You know, here in your town, your country, your place. That is where your time is required. Your resources are having value. How come you have time to go to Everest? So Brahmins don't feel to go to Everest is a priority. Warriors, they are into competition. The community and world, that is not their priority. That's why we said warriors, body consciousness has started. They want to climb Mount Everest. They want to be before anybody else. But they are not into the highest in discrimination. Warriors. Brahmins, their speciality is clarity, intellect. And they feel that is not a priority at present time to plan. Risk taking. And in what way does it help anyone? Your risk. These are useless things that they get distracted into and pull others also. Warriors, their contribution to community, they distract themselves and distract others also into useless direction. Whereas Brahmins, they are focused. They are useful to the community, useful to themselves. And as a result, there is no regret at the end. It is backed by wisdom in Brahmins.
Makes sense. So how do we know which phase we're in when we might identify with different phases?
Yeah, sure. In whatever phase we are in, we might see that there is a Shudra tendency in everyone on the planet at present. There is indulgence, there is a direction towards Ravan and creating more bondages. Those tendencies are in everyone. That is enough. Now the next phase for us is is the Brahmin phase. Anyone can come in the student phase. No one can say, I'm going to be a deity tomorrow. That is not possible because there is a burden of all the other tendencies inside the soul. So you can't choose, I will be a deity from tomorrow. But anyone can become a student today. And so we have the option, not analyze too much. This is nice for us to have this broad map. And it also, this map helps us understand how the society is, that there are different people at different level, in a society. That's why there are these different tendencies we see. Even in one family, one will gravitate in one direction, one other will go in another direction, because the soul is at different level. Not good, bad. We all have been through all this. But the wisest now is we become the student and put a foundation to going up and helping others go up. That is what we can promote in ourselves.
I like the example as well. If you're invited to an event on a Friday night, but you're also invited to a party and a talk or a sports event, and you have to choose one, it gives you an idea which is the dominant phase. Someone's written similar lines. Is it okay to feel I'm playing these phases in one life? For example, as a child, I was more Brahmin, my young age warrior, and deity not sure where that fits, but moving towards demon and now start to the awakening with the Brahmin phase. Is that connected?
Whatever it is, the most important for us now is be the student. And we are not deities, so we have the option to get things right deep inside. And for that, we need to be a good student. Also, to the extent we put the foundation of the Brahmin strong, the deity phase in our future journey will last longer. If the Brahmin phase is not strong, it is weak foundation, then the deity phase will last shorter and other phases will take over. So this variety in the world, and how quickly some people lose their inner strength and their nobility, it is because the foundation at the present time, the Brahmin foundation, is not so strong. And we have the option to put a really strong foundation at present time.
Does each person go through all the stages during their journey?
Every soul goes through these phases in their own way. And every soul has its journey.
How do these different levels communicate with each other?
We just need to see, how, the reason there is, we don't understand each other. If there is misunderstanding in a community, one of the reason is this. Like what might work for one country, it might not work for another country. It is because one country is in the one level, another country is at another level. For example, even one country can be in the warrior phase and they do the adventures and they, some government might take a position and everyone is happy with that position. They are in the warrior phase. But another country can't think that way because they are in the Shudra phase. They want to be, having coffee. They don't want to do adventure. And so the position that is required there is a different position. Some of the leaders of the country, if you think that people are all at the warrior level and you talk to them, no, the Shudra population will not agree with what you are saying. They are looking for something else.
A completely different belief system and structure. It transcends culture in a way, isn't it? Because in one culture you can have, but there's a dominant phase usually. Yeah. Is it possible we may go on the onward journey in like the Shudra or demonic phase?
And you understood the question?
Well, the question is, we are told with this knowledge of Raj Yoga, some are thorns. And does that mean the Shudra phase? And what's the connection with karmic accounts with that on our ongoing journey?
Everyone, each and everyone goes through the Shudra phase. They have their own lowest, that's what we call demon phase. Everyone changes and becomes Brahmin again. So that is the pattern. We have discussed the subject of Vinash force and all separately. The subject of karma, that is separate.
Someone is asking the old age in life, can we equate it to Shudra demon phase?
No, this is separate. That is a different pattern. Example was given, Brahmin, and that is one clan structure that applies to the souls. And the different phases of one life is separate.
Maybe one last question. Find it challenging that we have to rely on our own strength alone to remain free and in a higher consciousness above expectations and deception. It's more of a comment, but if you have anything to share.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's good.
It's challenging. So any method to manage it when it feels like it's kind of a lot to take on in a way. Do you have any comments?
As we said, now is the time to move into the Brahmin phase, and then you are dealing with wisdom. The real burden for us is the ignorance. We are dealing with something that is immensely beautiful, but in the confusion of the ego, and it takes sorrow from nothing. It can be boredom or seeing it as a problem, but it is the impurity of the ego. And the answer to this whole situation on the planet is removing the ego. That is the first step.
Yeah, that's great. So shall we create time for room discussion? So the question, I suggest it could be, what is the method to create change, win over ego, Ravan, and create a deity?
Yeah, sure, nice. How to move from Brahmin to deity, or
move from Shudra to Brahmin to create a deity. We get the idea. So just put that in the chat and something to reflect on, and we will post again when you're in the room. So enjoy, and we'll see you in around 10 or 15 minutes. Thank you. Hello, welcome back. Let's have a minute to come back to the essence of this invisible traveler. Thank you. Good to hear from you what your methods were that came up in the discussion. The how to create change. One thing felt very helpful is just defining the way we are going through these clans to see the patterns. And I think when you see a pattern, it's halfway to understanding the solution. So I'll just share some slogans that gave a feeling on this. So deity, it's like they might say that dance, existence is like a dance and everything is good and life is a miracle, and embrace the wonder, or they feel life is profound They might say, blessings abound, life is profound. That might be a nice slogan for the deity. Life is a miracle. Warrior, maybe conquer today, triumph tomorrow. You can feel the fall. Strength in every struggle, victory in every battle. Defeat is not an option, victory is inevitable. Conquer or be conquered. Merchant, wealth in every exchange. And of course, relationships become also transactional, don't they? I'll scratch your back if you scratch my back.
It may be nice to see on the board also, if it is possible for us to read.
Read. We'll put it in the chat maybe, because it's not a proper board. So you get the idea, and maybe the Shudra, you know, there's better the couch, you know, why work hard when you can nap harder? But it becomes amusing, you know, you can really get the feeling of it. But Brahmin, that was interesting. It's like aspire to inspire, learn, lead, and lift. I quite like this. So something to play with. And yeah, hand over to Prashant. We can create some boards. Om Shanti.
As was said, we are seeing the journey of the soul, and even though it appears it is like a going down, but we start from something very, very high. You know, imagine a life where there is a full 100% wisdom, richness of the head, richness of the heart. You understand this world for what it is, and then you are happy. Ravan is the opposite. You don't know the world what it is, and you are unhappy for nothing. You know, just like some children can be behaving like that. Just everything is extreme childishness. So one is not only taking sorrow, ready to give sorrow also. That is the lowest end. But right now, our journey, we have the option to get this, the method to go in the right direction. In its own time, it will gather momentum, but let us get the direction right. And something that we have been emphasizing, creating minutes of accurate soul awareness, minute of 100% paras. These are all very powerful tools. It is not some hoping that something will happen all of a sudden, things will change, you become a deity. No, we take some simple steps, and we have paras, we have to use it. At this moment, if I'm to use paras, everything changes, because you see things so differently. You realize the physical world, the whole thing is a story. For us, the real question would be, is it yes or no? This world is a story, okay? Yes or no? And if it is yes, if we have come to conclusion, this is a story, then full stop. We don't ask, we have no complaints about story. There's so many stories. We don't worry about them. You don't create attachments in a story. There are no cravings. There is no crying. You become 100% free. at least for that minute, you understand what it means to be so free from the story. You are amused by the story. I may not, completely, this is not my script, but doesn't matter. You are seeing the story. It is not a script that I would write, but it's a story. So the next question, okay, this home, does that home exist? And this is what we need to know. Does it exist? Yes or no? We're putting effort to find out more about this. And if it is yes, then this is my home. I can be 100% carefree. That we all are safe. Everyone is safe. And that everyone is noble. Anyone who is safe like this, they experience their greatness. All are noble. If demon is removed, they remain divine. And what does that mean, divine? No sorrow. In the whole department of sorrow, there is nothing inauspicious in them. Immensely lovely and loving. So this experience is in the present. All we have done is use paras, and we realize this experience where the invisible player understands that he has got no reason for anything inauspicious, that everyone is lovely, loving, and lucky. And the physical world, every moment is a gift. Lots of experiences, they're all like gifts. Thank you. It will be nice to hear some thoughts from you.
Questions and thoughts here. Are we just focusing on two phases, Brahmin to deity?
At the moment, we are dealing with Shudra to Brahmin and Brahmin to deity. So this is the confluence. This is the phase we are in, where the whole world has completed one phase, and it is then time to bring about a huge shift. And tomorrow we'll be speaking about cyclical time, and that will help us. What we discussed today will help us understand what we are going to hear tomorrow.
Question. Do we move faster through these phases when there has been more knowledge and awareness on the journey from life to life even?
To go faster is not the aim, because to go faster means to become Shudra quicker. So, but at the present time, this going faster, that would be the aim. because moving out of the Shudra and coming into the Brahmin, and from the Brahmin to deity, this will be, we need to do it fast. Every second staying in the Shudra is as if spending time in degradation. Why waste any second in degradation?
That concept of leapfrogging feels always relevant, that whatever our experiences or whatever we feel we are, we have the option to become the student, but we don't have to go through the trajectory of learning the hard way and having more attachments. We can just sense this is the wrong direction and use it to springboard and take a jump. You can learn quickly also from one's own past and others' experiences. So someone's also typed, the course has already helped me change from Shudra to Brahmin, or the understanding of those.
Nice. I'll just tell one story, and that will help us understand this shift from, this present age and present time, the shift. So let me first draw our famous sketch. And in this story, the story is written in a book by Peter Russell. And Peter Russell is a physicist, scientist, and this book is on the environment, what is happening to the planet. And the first page, first chapter, is a story. And in the story, one train has gone off the rails, is heading towards a cliff. And passengers in the train are having a party. So he gives the scenario. No one knows what is happening to the train. It is heading towards a cliff and everyone is in the party. No one wants to be disturbed in this party. And he says, our planet Earth is in the position of this train. And it is heading towards the cliff. And everyone is in a party. They are still planning new kinds of cakes, and everyone is busy in it. So he asked the question, if you are in the train, what will be your priority here? If your loved ones are in the train, what will you do? Will you give them more cakes? Will you sit with big cake? Or will you come out of the train? So the story gives a very clear map of what is happening to the planet Earth. The story doesn't give any further details because it is a Lockic world, Lockic understanding. It is just, the model is, I don't even know who he's talking about, who are the passengers. But when you see from the knowledge, you are understanding the passengers are these invisible travelers. They are the passengers. And these passengers are in the train. And this train is going off the cliff. Every second, I'm just thinking of this train. I actually I'm in the train. Just I'm thinking of the train. During those seconds, I'm in the train. When I create new kinds of bondages, new kinds of attachments, I tie myself in the train. It can be, I'm sort of actively looking for some friends here. I'm looking for some bigger position, and this is mine, creating expectations. It means I'm tying myself in the train, sinking train. Certain life behaviors and patterns that includes addictions, lust, in any form. These are creating double knots. The invisible traveler gets trapped in this train with more knots. We ourselves notice, your mind is pulled there. Anytime, any situation, mind is pulled there. It means the soul is trapped there with double knot. Each time you are using the paras, already the game is changing. You are now seeing the bigger map, understanding the journey. You are understanding there is a traveler here. In the stone intellect, you did not even know even there is a traveler. So you're just using the paras. Game is changing. Every second you are experiencing the home, you are coming out of the train. Remember the spiral we show, the upward spiral? Each time you are experiencing the invisible traveler, seeing the freedom of the traveler, you are out of the train. Every second you are seeing others as souls. That is helping you and others also to come out of the train. Just your vision and your attitude. Every second you are remembering the supreme friend. You are coming out of the train. You are seeing what it is like to one who is always paras, one who is embodiment of wisdom. You are seeing that perspective. It is helping you come out of the train. If we got a clear map, what we are doing, we said earlier, Shudra, he not only wastes his time and life, Shudra is deceiving himself, traps himself more in that sinking train, and gets into more sorrow, more pain. Whereas more you are using the knowledge, understanding is already good. There is power of knowledge. But power of yoga is when you are experiencing, based on knowledge, you are experiencing these alokik, unearthly dimensions. Yoga necessarily means you are using paras. You are not staying in Pathar in that camp, in the story camp, but you are coming out, seeing the bigger map, and experiencing the wonder of the invisible prince. Every second you are doing it, you are coming up the spiral, you are coming out of the train. Now let us say you have come out of the train completely. It means a lot to come out of the train. To really be free from all expectations and all bondages in this story, all the ego. That means you have come out. It's a big achievement, coming out of the train. Your inner life has become like this, and there is no trace of I. All of them are removed. Then you come out of the train. So let us say you have come out, you have come to God. He says, very good, you have come out before it is too late. So become free, that is perfect. But now, go back in that train again. But now go back for what? To free others from the deception. So you are going there, okay, and use the same body, same job, same town, same place, same family. You are going back in the same world. But now you are going there for the reason of Ram, for different reason altogether. It is not your body, because all the my and I, you have finished. but you are saying, okay, I can use that body for the task of Ram. When you were earlier, with you were in the same world, but earlier you were there for the reasons of Ravan. Ravan's Shudra is there for the reasons of Ravan. Now you are going there for the reasons of Ram. That is, both are in the same world, same body, same life, maybe eating the same food, but it is like a one mind creates heaven of hell, other mind creates hell of hell. It takes one for the Ravan. Ravan is using the mind. You got a story, but story gives us an insight into the shift that is possible at the present time from the Shudra to the Brahmin and what the Brahmin life means. It would be nice to hear some final thoughts or comments.
I like this story because it's extremely vivid and you can feel that attitude, possibility. You've understood, you've come out, you've touched the ground, the feeling of immortality of the soul and freedom completely. And then coming back with a different vision and attitude to the trade. So the Brahmin role there, not as a beggar like the merchant slaving to be comfortable, or as a Shudra to indulge, but for the task. So the service, but it's at the level of the soul. So it feels very helpful to illustrate with this story. Maybe a final question, if it's okay, to just clarify one aspect. Are we completely in one clan, in one birth? Or do all clans kind of exist in varying ratios? So just to illustrate that point, to make it more clear, perhaps you could expand.
At the present time, if you take a cross-section of any city, you take a cross-section of, say, London, one city, you might find certain percentage, maybe 5% in the deity phase, certain percentage in the warrior phase, maybe say 20%, certain percentage in the merchant phase, 25%. It means there are more somewhere else. Maybe certain percentage in the Shudra phase. I'm just giving here a random number. In another city, maybe 15% in the deity phase and 5% in the demon phase. But another city, it can be 50% in the Shudra phase and 5% in the deity phase. That ratio changes everything. Huge differences happen because of these differences.
At a personal level, can you give an example to show if we are actually in one phase at one particular time? Maybe you could illustrate that example of, you have a choice and which do you choose? It makes it clear at a personal level.
Yeah. You clarified it already.
I don't know if it was heard, but this answers the question for me, at least, that you have the option to go to an event. Do you choose the lecture? So it's Brahmin phase, you get to understand more deeply knowledge of the aspect of your interest. Or do you go for the party, other option, or do you go for the clay pigeon shooting event? And you like all of them, but there's always one thing that wins in you that you would prefer to do. So that is the phase you are in. Even if you might have a little tendency, you like clay pigeon shooting, but that's the 5% for you, and 75% of you is So there's always a dominant one. And so we can sense, I think. Yeah. So would you like to suggest any homework, anything to sort of focus before we meet again?
Yeah, homework is what we discussed today is like getting the social. It is like the nice model for our sociology to understand the society. Homework is still based upon what we've been studying before. Something we practiced just now. Use the paras and let us nourish the highest consciousness within us. The hobby, continue to experience more of it and become freer from the burden of the lower consciousness. Enjoy the fun.
Absolutely. So enjoy next 24 hours. We'll meet again tomorrow. Thank you.